What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Live Draft Show here on RotoGrinders. I am Britt Devine here with Eric Crane. Before we get started, Crane, I want to invite everybody to join us on Underdog Fantasy. If you don't have it already, go to your app store and get it. You can download it on Apple and iPhone. You can also go to the web and get it as well. Join us in the $25 entry, $1 million prize pool, $200,000 to the winner, Best Ball Mania tournament. 6 more are needed to join us here today. So how do you join us? You go to the lobby, Best Ball Mania, boom, click that. 30 seconds per pick. That's what we're doing here live today. Enter 6 more of you, and we will get this going. Crane. What's up, man? You know, we talk every day in our little secret chat, but we don't get to do too many shows together.
You know, it's a sad story. They keep us separated for reasons I don't totally understand, and I'm glad. It's been a long time since I've gotten to do a show with you, Britt, so I'm glad to see you. I see you're still rocking the sharp side and the orange shirt. My question for you is, do you have any other clothes besides that outfit?
No, so the wife always tells me, she's like, what is all in your closet? Why do you have so many shirts? So I have like 15 RotoGrinder shirts, 4 or 5 sharp side shirts. I've got all my fantasy shirts. I got RotoWear. That's literally all I wear. That and either gym shorts or sweatpants is basically my entire attire here. So
what does it take for you to actually like get dressed like a real person?
Well, we haven't had like a date night, dinner night, right, since COVID for what? 3 or 4 months now. So
how great is that? You don't have to be forced out of the house. You can just hang out. You don't have to. You don't have to get dressed up for anything. You just kind of hang out, and I actually have my Playboy Mansion shorts on right now. No, I'm not going to stand up and show you guys. I got my Blues Stanley Cup hat. We got some hockey later tonight. We got some basketball going on right now. Are the Nets still hanging in there? By the way,
they are. Your TLC not too good. My Garrett Temple, boom, 2 thumbs up.
That's good. I've got a little bit of both. I'm feeling like I don't have enough of that game. Unfortunately, I totally faded Fred VanVleet, which is proving to be futile. But yeah, that's all right. That's all right. We got a lot of basketball left, and of course, we got a lot of best ball left. Only 3 more until we get going. And Britt, you bring out the people, man, because last time Stevie and I did this show, it took a solid 10 minutes before we got people. Now only 3 spots left. I'm hanging out here in the YouTube chat if you guys want to chat, ask any questions, get some fashion advice from Britt and or myself, which is, I got to be honest, maybe the worst possible place to get any fashion advice of any kind. But, hey, we're here for you if you need us.
Yeah, the Untuck It shirts, right? All that. I don't have any of those, right? It's just RotoGrinders T-shirts and sweatpants. Again, guys, if you want to join Underdog, if you're new to Best Ball, right? There was a good show earlier in the day. If you want to get some Best Ball takes with Jamino and Dean and Beer Makers Fan, that was on. If you want to watch that after the show, if you're looking for some takes and some strategies behind that about Underdog, you can do that. We're going to do the live show. We are in the $25 Best Ball Mania. We are in the fast draft. We need 3 more of you to join. If you don't have Underdog, you can download it from your app store today or go to underdogfantasy.com, make a deposit. This one's $25. They have cash games from $3, $1. They have a $5 MME sort of tournament that's just like this one as well. If you can't swing $25, or if you're playing the 25 and you're putting in 150, that's a lot of coin. If you want to multi-enter at the $5 level, they have one of those too. But yeah, it's going to be fun. 2 more of them left to start. Crane, right? I want the 101. You want the 101.
I've only done 1 draft, and I have had the 101 exactly 0 times. I think last time I had the 107, which is fine. Whatever. I can live with that. That's all right. I feel like I'm going to get the 101 this time. Is it weird that I have a feeling?
You got a feeling.
Yeah, I got a feeling.
Are we going to get like a copyright notice?
I was going to say, I didn't think we were allowed to sing anymore, which is, both sad and appreciated by the masses, I'm sure. But look, if you get the 101, you just you take Saquon and then you leave Christian McCaffrey.
Saquon, get out of here.
Then you leave Christian McCaffrey for me at the 102.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. So,
hey, a boy can dream, right?
Yeah,
Britt, I know Britt, you've been firing off a lot of these. I got to ask you, because I've had a lot of people tell me that these things are really soft right now. Are they as soft as I've heard they are? Because I haven't been firing as much as I did last year. Do I need to be blasting a little bit harder?
So the cash games are pretty soft. The tournaments, you get a little bit more of the sharper crowd, right? You're going up against 150 a CSU and 150 of, well, Dan, right? If Dan's in there, you don't really have to worry about
we're talking soft, though.
Yeah,
We're
it's
not
just free
talking
money.
yeah.
But the bigger championship ones, you run into a little bit tougher crowd. The cash games, I feel like you can just sort of print money in those. But I think you're going to play, right? You're going to play the championship teams a little bit differently than you would the cash games with roster construction and all that type of stuff. I think it's fun. We got one more. I'm ready to draft. All right. Underdog Fantasy, right? I played a lot on draft. You are from the makers of the draft app. I hope I get the 101. Let's see if it works here.
Are you praying to the gods of Underdog Fantasy?
Listen, I'll slide into the DMs. Who's it? Jeremy, right? If I got to slide into his, whatever it takes to get the 101 in these things.
If there's one thing I've learned about working with Britt for the last 5 years, is that he is as shameless as they come.
Listen, I got my coupon at Arby's today. I got my free mozzarella sticks. Whatever it takes. I'm willing to scrape around and have some
fun.
Hey,
you earned the nickname Britt the Net. You earned that, buddy.
One more, and we will get this started. You got any couple of takes here? Let's say you get, where do you want to draft in these things? I think the 1, 2, or 3 people are like, I want the 8th spot or the 12th spot. It's all
nobody actually says
it's all right? BS. I want a top 3, maybe 4 or 5. Right? Anything after that turns into garbage pretty quickly.
I mean, it's all in the eye of the beholder, man. Like, if you like somebody like Derrick Henry, you can go ahead and grab Derrick Henry with that, 6 or 7 pick. If you like somebody like Miles Sanders, who is going to bust for a lot of people this year, you can go ahead and grab a guy like Miles Sanders. I don't mind top 4. I like Alvin Kamara just as much as I do, Saquon and Zeke. I'm kind of glad that he's not as exciting to the masses. I'm a big Kamara fan this year. I mean, there are just so many different, good ways to go. Like, the thing is, when you're doing something like this, you're going to be able to get good players. You're going to be able to get guys you like. Yeah, you only have a 1 in 12 shot of getting Christian McCaffrey in that number 1 overall spot. I get it. It can be a little bit disappointing when you don't get him. But look, guys, there are a lot of fun names here. Now, I got a strategy question because we're still waiting on one more to fill this tournament. And guys, fill this bleeping tournament. All right, go ahead and get in there. One of you got $25 sitting.
Someone sacrificed the $25 already.
Yeah. I got a question for you, though, as far as strategy goes, because when this tournament was introduced, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, you could get him quite a bit later. And I'm always somebody that when there's a guy like this where people were getting him at a 5 or 6 round discount, maybe not that high, but a big-time discount before, in a tournament where you're competing against 100,000 people, I always fade guys like this. You've done a lot more of these best ball drafts than I have. What do you think about that strategy?
No, so I don't like it because the teams that had Clyde Edwards-Helaire 4 weeks ago in the 3rd round or the 4th round, whatever, right? Yeah. They're going to look a lot different than the teams that you get with Clyde Edwards-Helaire now in the 1st round. And you have more information now as well. As time moves on, you're always going to get more information. There's going to be injuries and things like that along the way. I don't care. I don't really think there's an edge. I'm fine playing, if I'm sitting there at 109 and Clyde Edwards-Helaire is there, I'm probably going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I don't think it's a disadvantage or advantage just because the overall team structures are so different. And then let's be real, you got to run really hot, right, to get to the playoffs. And then you got to run ultra hot to even get to the championship where all the money is anyway. Whatever. I don't think it's a big advantage. Last year, right, with Antonio Brown, I think maybe you could have made something there because he was free and then he was ultra expensive, so you probably didn't take him when he was ultra expensive. Things like that. But this is only a couple round difference. I'm fine with it.
All right. So freaking Antonio Brown. Are you drafting him at all in the tournament? I guess you have to in tournaments.
Maybe like the last pick, right? If he's on a team for the last, let's say he plays the last 8 weeks or even somehow 4 weeks. There we go. We're in. Draft starts soon.
Hey, I'll take the number 2 pick.
Your wife don't know?
Yeah, she doesn't know I'm doing another draft, man.
That's your name. That's a good one. I got the 5th. I'm happy with that. Let's see what's in here. I see Justin. I know who he is. Let's see if I notice anybody else. There's you. But thanks to everyone. If you're in here and you're watching the show in chat, hit us up. Let us know who you're targeting. Let us know who you are. We'll go over your teams. But I'm excited. You're number 2. I have seen Christian McCaffrey drop to the 2 spot every once in a while. It's
Do it for me, Lambo.
It's like 1 out of every 20 drafts or so.
I mean, I've come back from better odds than that. So, yeah, this is just fine. The minute before the draft starts is always the one where you're just like, it's one of the longer minutes, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I just want to draft.
Come on.
You're taking Saquon at 2, I'm assuming? Or do you have any interest in Zeke? I like Zeke quite a bit this year.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke's fine. I think Saquon's fine. I still think Kamara's in play. Oh, God.
Darn it.
All right. I'll go ahead and take Saquon.
I think that's probably everybody's number 2. Just a great running back. I think that offense is going to be pretty good this year, and I don't think the defense is going to be amazing. I think Daniel Jones takes a little bit of a step forward. I think Saquon's in for a really good season.
We got Frederick Reyes in the chat. He says he's got the 3rd pick. So, he just went with Ezekiel.
Yep, Zeke. So pretty standard so far. I saw on the earlier show, and it was Jamino who said, so we saw Cook go. I prefer Cook specifically in this one where it's half PPR over Kamara. I'm going to take Kamara. There's a couple other guys. I could see Derrick Henry. I think you could make a case for Miles Sanders, and then, of course, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Jamino was talking about he thinks taking Michael Thomas, you basically have no shot to win this thing in the end here. What's your overall thoughts on that?
I mean, wait, what's his argument there with Michael Thomas?
So it's half PPR. DraftKings has theirs, so there's no bonuses, right, to 100 yards or anything like that. And I think Jamino's smart enough to realize Michael Thomas isn't going to lead the league, the wide receiver position, by 100 freaking fantasy points again, right? Yeah. So I think all of that sort of goes into his take where the running back thirst, you basically have to get these bell cow running backs at the start.
I mean, yeah, but that's how every fantasy draft is. And then especially this year, 2/3 of the running backs are going to be, normally it's 1/3 of the running backs that start the year as starters are no longer starters by the end of the year. I think this year we could see upwards of 2/3. And wide receivers, season in and season out, the wide receivers are more consistent. Week in and week out, the running backs are more consistent from, just from a projection standpoint. So I get it. I think that's fine. I also think it gives you a little bit different of a roster construction than what you're going to see from a lot of people.
Yeah, I would be fine. It looks like Michael Thomas just went in 110. I don't hate that. Like, I would be okay, right? If it just goes running backs and you're in the 12th pick. I've seen people get Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams back to back there. That's basically where I draw the line where I'm going to take Michael Thomas.
Yeah, you better get about 6 different running backs, or 6 or 7 different running backs as the draft goes on. Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate zero running back. And again, in a season like this where, look, people are going to miss. We're already kind of seeing it with people. You don't know with baseball. Oh, who is it that got scratched? Adam Engel got scratched the other day, and you didn't even know what was going to happen. We're going to see that Sunday mornings with football. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a really important season to have a little bit of depth, to have a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah, and I don't know, like, running backs just scare the crap out of me. And I'm going to be doing some big-time auction drafts coming up here in a few weeks, and it's going to scare the living crap out of me to invest heavily in 1 or 2 players this season.
Yeah, I think, if you get one of those first 5 or 6 picks, I think I'm pretty much always going running back. My question for you is when you come around, right, you already got a bell cow Saquon, who's basically in line to get, as close to 100% of the touches as any running back in the league. When you draft real early like you do, you're going to have the chance to get, one of the top tight ends. You could have the number 1 scoring position player from 3 different positions, right? You can probably get one of the top running backs, tight end, quarterback, and maybe even one of the receivers. What do you think about doing that instead of just sort of loading up? Like, you could just take 3 running backs in a row too, and I think in theory you could leave it as well. There's a lot of different ways to play it.
I think if you take the 3 running backs in a row, you have to leave it, because if you're spending your first 3 picks on running backs, if a couple of them don't pan out, you ain't winning anyways. So to me, if you spend those early draft picks on running backs, you don't need to be going a 4th or a 5th running back. You just stick with the 3. It kind of depends who gets to me. Right now, I mean, you see Kittle and Kelsey are both off the board. Aaron Jones.
I was hoping I could get Kittle or Kelsey with him.
Yeah, I was too, but obviously that was not going to happen. Aaron Jones might be there when I pick. James Conner might be there. I think you could make a case for Lamar Jackson, though last season is going to be awfully tough to duplicate. There are so many good wide, and there goes Aaron Jones. So
the running back thirst is insane now.
Yeah, the running backs right now are looking a little bit thin. I have no problem with James Conner. I don't love him. I'm not somebody that is a big James Conner guy. But we know that in Pittsburgh, when they pick a guy, they pick a freaking guy. And it's not like they're going to be splitting carries. And if Conner's healthy, which is a big if with him, especially with his health history in a year where you're going to have to kind of watch out for COVID a little bit, I could see James Conner being a disappointment. I also do not love any of these other running backs, Britt.
The ADP has tightened up dramatically, and I mean, there's like slim pickings left for running backs. I went Mahomes because I agree. Again, guys, if you want to see the hot take show after this one, go back and watch it. I think Mahomes has that like a 5,000 yards, 50 touchdown type of season.
Yeah,
I can't stack him with any of his top targets, but I'm going to have that. And their playoff schedule, I've said this before, it doesn't take a genius to realize to stack the Chiefs. Their playoff schedule is like the nuts too, if you happen to get there.
Are you believing the Le'Veon Bell hype? He's healthy, Britt. He said he didn't.
He's in his best. Every NFL player is in the best shape of their life right now.
It's
I'm not
really
sure if you saw
impressive.
that.
You know what? I considered Lamar Jackson last round. I'm going to go ahead and grab him here.
Yeah,
I'm not. What?
Good pick.
I'm not usually a big fan of taking quarterbacks early, but I'm going to be loading up on a lot of wide receivers as this draft goes later and later. I've got 2 running backs, and I've got Lamar Jackson. Again, you have 2 very clear top-tier quarterbacks in football. With Mahomes, as you talked about, Lamar Jackson, as I talked about. Typically, the gap between the number 1, the number 2, the number 3 quarterback is not huge. I think with Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes, it is big enough that I'm okay using a pick there. And I'm going to be taking a lot of high upside wide receivers later on in this draft.
I just took Chris Carson. Don't love him, but if I don't get my second running back, my every week second starter, I was going to be looking at scraps here. I don't like having both of my top 2 running backs on the same bye week. I try to spread out my buys a little bit. I think you can, you don't want to have like 7 players all out on the same buy or anything like that, and especially not your couple of your top guys. I think it really hurts you that week, and in the long run can really hurt you trying to advance into the playoffs and getting one of those first 2 spots. But there wasn't much left. I'm expecting him to basically be the guy, right? You've got Carlos Hyde, who's there as the insurance policy. You've got Penny, who's on, maybe he doesn't even start the season active. I think that's going to be Chris Carson's backfield. I think their defense, they made a big improvement with that Jets trade there. I think their defense might be halfway decent. If they're running the ball late, I think Carson can put up some big games. I
will never get a Seattle running back right. I don't care what it is. I don't care who it is. I've never gotten him right. And I like Chris Carson. I think he's a great, great runner. There is the possibility that his hands turn into jello a little bit and that gets ugly. We've seen that from Chris Carson before. We know they want to throw him the ball, but we've also seen these random games from Rashad Penny. Would it shock you if Carlos Hyde stole some scores? I don't know. The whole Seattle offense drives me nuts because they play slow, even though they've got this phenomenal offense. They've got Russ Wilson. They should be throwing it more, and they just don't. They have Tyler Lockett. They have DK Metcalf, and they just play at this slow, plodding pace, and it drives me absolutely nuts. Every year. It's been like this for, 3 years now? They've driven me crazy.
You got to let Russ cook. He's Mr. Unlimited, right? Did you see that?
I did not. I heard that. I know people made fun of him, which I'm all for, but yes. I did not actually see it.
All right, so I'm coming up here before you. I've got a couple of clear targets I'm looking at. I hope a couple of them drop to me. I think I'm going to get one of the 4 guys I'm looking at no matter what. So I feel good.
Who is it? You only got 3 people in front of you. Who are you looking at?
Well, it definitely wasn't A.J. Brown. If A.J. Brown has like a top 7 season, at the position, I'm going to be in trouble this year. I basically have none. I like the Tyler Lockett pick. I think that one's a good one. I expect him to be a top 12 wide receiver. Oh, there goes Robert Woods and Mark Andrews. Those were 2 of my targets as well.
Hey, you said you had 4, so you're okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to go I'm taking David Johnson.
Right. I think that's fine. I really do, especially considering that the next few running backs, you just don't know what the hell they're going to do. I know that David Montgomery, he's getting a little bit of love. I don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
He's in the best shape of his life.
I'm sort of believing the Le'Veon Bell. Oh, there he goes. He probably just saved me from myself. Wife Don't Know is up next. And, I'm not in love with a lot of these wide receivers. I know who I'm going to take if it gets to me and if he's still available. And it is. I'm going to take Terry McLaurin, who I got made fun of last year for taking him, and it worked out just fine. So I'm going to take him once again.
Yeah, this is like the sweet spot for wide receivers, the 3rd to like the end of the 5th. You basically, if you want to it's hard to make a mistake at wide receiver at this point in the draft. All these guys are so grouped together. I like that Lockett went before Metcalf. I think that's pretty good. I like that Woods went before Kupp. That wasn't always happening. I like Shark. I like McLaurin. So I like a lot of these picks that have been made.
I'm going to go ahead and finish up at running back. And I'm going to take somebody maybe a little bit early at 5.2. But I'm going to take Mr. Kareem Hunt. I told you, I don't believe in David Montgomery. Mark Ingram, no. DeAndre Swift, everything I've heard in camp from DeAndre Swift has me just getting him nowhere.
What have you heard? I mean, everything I've heard is he's great.
I've heard that he has trouble in pass protection. Kerryon Johnson is still heavily involved. I'm not that interested in DeAndre Swift, honestly. Raheem Mostert, I understand that he was great in the playoffs last year. They still have 5,000 running backs there. Cam Akers is a guy. I don't know what to do with Cam Akers.
There goes Swift. I'm going to go – this one's really tough. Man,
the suspense was killing me, Brett. Make the pick.
Well, I'm trying to think. There's no one. I'm not gonna be able to stack any of these guys. I'm gonna take Parker with Ryan Fitzpatrick looking to be the starter. I'm hoping somehow I think the Dolphins are going to be just good enough where they might not have to turn to Tua as soon as possible. If Fitzpatrick
but are they going to want to?
I don't know. I think they're going to be a good team. If they're 3-1. Or they're like 5-3. I don't know if they make the jump to Tua. I think Fitzpatrick showed last year he's just going to sling it. There's been a slew of injuries between Parker, between Williams, and between Gesicki. These guys are just going to be extreme target hogs, in my opinion. Parker was balling out. I know a lot of it was with Williams out, but with all of those the peripheral options of Albert Wilson and Alan Hearns, they opted out from COVID. I think Devontae Parker's in store for a good season. I might have to risk a Ryan Fitzpatrick last pick in the draft to get some stacks going on.
Well, luckily for you, he will be available with the last pick, so you should be okay there.
The problem is I like tight ends as my last couple of picks. You can't get a good running back in like the last 3 months.
I tried. I know. I really tried. And
there's some wide receivers, but you really can't get wide receivers anymore. There's plenty of tight ends that are going to catch some passes in the last round.
Yep. It's oh boy. And you're talking about how fast running back falls off.
I'm surprised Montgomery was there.
I was stunned David Montgomery was still there. I mean, like I said, I'm not in love with him. At the end of the 5th, that's a phenomenal pick.
Look at Justin's team. I think Justin's putting together a good team. He's got Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams, and then he's got Gordon Gurley and Montgomery. Like, that is a very solid, not superstar running back, but guys who can grind out good games for you. With elite wide receiver play.
Yep, and he's going to get some higher upside guys later on, and I think he's going to be doing just fine. What's Britt's team look like? Let's see. He's got Patrick Mahomes, Kamara Carson, David Johnson, and Devontae Parker. How many more running backs will you take?
I'm going to probably take – I wish I didn't have them with the same bye. I would probably stop at 4, but I usually end at 5. The problem is one of my favorite late-round running backs is Duke Johnson, and I'm definitely not going to take both Houston running backs on the same team in the championships. That's just counterintuitive.
That's just depressing.
I love me some Duke. Duke had like 4 or 5 like 12-plus fantasy point games last year.
How many years have we been trying to make Duke Johnson a thing?
He's good. He just doesn't get enough touches.
Yeah, I know, but we've been saying that for 4 or 5 years.
I mean, I don't expect him to get a ton of touches. I just expect him on the games he does get a couple extra touches to have some good games. And that definitely counts for a late-round running back.
Oh, boy. I don't know. I have trouble getting excited about that. I really do, about Duke Johnson ever. I was somebody that was not high on him, but high enough. And it was – the guy just doesn't get there, man. Like, he doesn't get the volume. I don't know why, but they just traded for David Johnson. It's not like he's going to be getting a ton of volume now.
Well, I hope on this particular team, Duke doesn't get a lot of volume. And David Johnson, when he was healthy last year to start, he was churning out fantasy points.
He was great. Right. He was great.
So I'm hoping he does it for me on this particular team. Although my other 8 billion teams, right, would probably not agree with me too often.
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't seem like somebody that has a lot of David Johnson, if I'm being honest.
AJ Green. All right, I gotta make a pick coming up here. I am very likely to go extremely wide receiver heavy for this.
I'm surprised that AJ Green went there. I mean, he's already having injury issues. Britt, by the way, this is how Britt is. You do a show with him, and he gets ready for his pick, and he just zones out.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I wanted T.Y. Hilton, but I just got sniped, and I'm not too happy about it.
Shoot, that stinks, man. Oh, there's some good wide receivers coming up. I'm
my
thrilled.
Team, I'm going to take Keenan Allen, but I don't expect him to be an amazing play. I think they're going to be really run heavy with a great defense for the Chargers this year. But I mean, he's been ultra consistent his entire career. Not really a person I want to stack with either. He's just sort of out there on his own.
Yeah, I understand. You got to do what you got to do, Britt.
So we got a trade. We got hop aboard the Baltimore defense. Just got a big addition. Baltimore's going to be unstoppable now. They got the Ravens defensive tackle for a pick and Gus Edwards out of Baltimore.
Who traded for him?
The Ravens.
I thought you said they traded good.
They traded Gus Edwards and a third-round pick next year for that big defensive tackle that didn't want to play for the Jaguars.
Oh, Yannick Ngakoue?
Yep, he gone.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
I mean, the Ravens didn't even want Gus Edwards, so it was basically just for the –
Ngakoue is great.
Yeah.
He is a phenomenal player.
For a third, and apparently that was in a bidding war as well.
Unbelievable. Good.
I like. Did you got Shark or whoever got Shark? Get Minshew. That team is going to be passing all the time. That defense is going to be absolute trash.
I'll go with a little Deontay Johnson. Don't hate him. Not in
Are
love.
You buying the hype where he outscores Juju? That was like
no. I'm not buying
that.
I'm not buying that hype, but I am buying the hype that he's a good football player that's going to catch touchdowns. Hey, what do you know? Brooklyn blew it.
They lost. I mean, you would expect them to lose, right?
Yeah, but they were crushing earlier, 104-99.
I mean, the bubble is the equalizer. There's no travel. There's no home court. Anything can happen in this thing.
You just want all bubble all the time now, don't you?
I cannot believe Jarvis Landry has been like a top 12 wide receiver for basically every year of his career. I'm taking him.
I guess. I mean, he's a nice little stabilizer. I just don't. He's just one of those guys that's not gonna get you a ton of week winning performances.
I'll try to get him a little later. Not too many out there. I see a couple.
I definitely see a couple. Drafting like all wide receivers right here makes me never want to draft a wide receiver early. All these guys are good.
This is why the running back thirst, right?
Yes,
it makes sense. The teams that make the championship, I would be, unless a team gets like 2-0 RBs, right? Like unless they draft Alexander Madison and Tony Pollard, and then Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott are like down in the championship weeks. I don't see how on Underdog those teams make it to the finals. I agree with the running back bell cow heavy approach to start with. that Michael Thomas, Devontae Adams team, though, that's where it looks good. If you're able to put something like that together, that I might understand because then you won a couple of running backs in a row. So I think Justin has a great team going here, but I just don't see how like the 0 RB teams, that's just not going to work on them.
I mean, it's any 0 running back team, you've got to get them right. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're playing best ball, if you're playing fantasy, if you're playing season long, whatever. You've got to get them right either way. Like you said, that's the path, though. And as I've said, in a year where I expect a ton of chaos, especially at the running back position, where guys get boo-boos all the time, it would not shock me if something like that happens, if the Madison and Pollard team took it down. And, that's another way to be contrarian because, in a tournament where you're trying to beat 1 billion people, you want to be a little bit weird. You want to be willing to get a little bit strange. And if you get those late-round picks, and if you can make, you have to make sure you get the Pollards, the Madisons of the world. Somebody maybe like Jerick McKinnon even, because who the hell knows what's going to happen in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. You have to be willing to roll the dice and get a little bit weird if you don't get one of those first 4 picks, I think.
Yeah, one of the things that's nice, too, is usually in these, I think it was last year, you had to finish first in order to advance into, like, the playoffs. Now each league, it's the top 2 from each league, make it into the playoff format. So you can still, as long as your team is, is okay, you don't have to win. So you can get by being just a little bit weird in an attempt to get into the playoffs this year because you don't have to ship the whole thing in that first regular season part, weeks 1 through 13. It's the top 2. So you can do a little funny stuff. You don't have to win it all. Just be close enough, and you get into the playoffs where all the money's won. So I don't hate it. I want to see Justin's team here. So I think his team, I don't know what everyone else's team, but I do like Justin's team. I'm in a bunch of leagues with Justin. So let's see here. Fork plate. I'm going to take a look at his. He does have Dak and Amari Cooper. He's got Kelsey, who I like. I don't know. I'm going to imagine almost every team ends up looking pretty decent. There's no freebies.
Yeah.
Miles Sanders, Jones, Dobbins. Dobbins is going to, the 20 to 50 carries Gus Edwards was going to get. Those are now J.K. Dobbins rushes. So
yeah, J.K. Dobbins, I think he's going to end up doing what we really wanted Justice Hill to do last year.
Mm-hmm.
Just
he's 20 times the player of Justice Hill.
I wouldn't know. I never saw Justice Hill on the field. Every time I wanted that guy to get on the field, and it just never happened. That was the guy I wanted. I'm big on Ruggs this year, Britt.
On who?
I'm very big on Henry Ruggs.
Oh, yeah, I like Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs. Yeah. I understand that he was not the best play, the best wide receiver. Everybody wanted Jerry Jeudy. Everybody wanted CeeDee Lamb. I love when teams invest draft capital like that because you know that even if they stink, they're going to get them involved.
I'm going to take a player who should be if he stays healthy, pretty good wide receiver, Jamison Crowder. I'm taking all the players that most people don't think have the spike.
I hate.
Crowder was great last year when he played with Darnold. There's, the rookie Mims. He's got a little injury. There's no one else out there. It's him and Perryman. He was easily the number 1 target, and I see no way he doesn't lead the Jets in basically every receiving category this
year. You're not on the Rashad Perriman train?
I like Perryman. Well, this also, too, I don't want to give away the strategy, right? I need to make a stack here. So Crowder lets me do that late with Sam. I like the cheap stacks, right? Darnold to Crowder and Perryman. Mm-hmm. That makes sense to me. I'm not investing a lot while getting the upside of a stack where if you try to stack the Chiefs, granted, you're going to win your league, but it costs a lot of draft capital at the beginning of the draft.
What did you think about my Hayden Hurst pick right there? I didn't have a tight end.
I like Hurst. I was watching the show before, Beer Makers fan. His hot take was Hayden Hurst top 5 tight end. So
I hope so. Yep.
I like Hurst.
Yep.
If Hooper can do it, I don't think Hooper's great. Just the sheer
Hurst is more talented than Hooper. That's how I feel.
You're indoors in like 10 games a year, if not more.
Defense stinks.
What else do you want?
Yep. That's one of the reasons I like waiting on tight end this year. I do not remember a single year where tight end was this deep. Do you?
Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a whole bunch of tight ends here that I think can do good. The problem is they're all going to start going off the board in a second.
I'm glad I got my guy then.
So I'm going to make – actually, you know what? I'm not going to. Oh, man, I got to make a pick. All right, I'm going to start – we're gonna go full Ryan Fitzpatrick stack here, right?
That is
– I got me some Gesicki.
That is a depressing sentence to say out loud. Are you sure are you feeling okay over there?
Need I remind you? Do you know what won the $1 million on draft last year?
Was it 50?
Miami Dolphins stack in the final week.
Oh, what a world. What a
world. You had Fitzpatrick, Parker, and I think you might even had Gesicki on that, like week 16, and they went ballistic.
Yeah. My wide receiver core is somewhat lacking.
Let's see. I'm going to pull up your team.
Yeah, I've got McLaurin, Gallup, Deontay Johnson, and Deebo Samuel.
Why'd you pick Deebo already? That dude's ain't going to play for like at least 4 weeks into the season.
He'll be back. He's made of he's made of freaking titanium. I have no problem with Deebo.
I say no way.
All right. We'll see.
I would have taken I'm hoping there's a couple of guys I'm waiting on. A couple of the zero RBs are about to start flying off the board here if you're looking for them. So if you're weak at running back anybody, I suggest you start taking some running backs. Yeah. This little second tier is going to start disappearing real quick.
Yeah. What are you doing with this Tampa Bay situation? Guys like Keyshawn Vaughn, what are we doing with Tampa?
I'm not really on the running back situation. I think if you got in early on Ronald Jones, when he was like a 10th round running back, I think that's fine. I don't mind shot taken on Vaughn, but where is he? He goes
early, man.
I would take like 15 running backs ahead of Vaughn right now.
That's my biggest issue with Keyshawn Vaughn is that you've got to grab him, in 10th or 11th round. He's more of like a 14th round guy to me.
I gotta make a couple stacks here. So I got Mahomes, which
if
I'm gonna
take
stack
him, Britt.
I'm gonna
take him.
What, Watkins?
Yeah,
I'm going to for sure. That's not a question.
Baby.
I might wait one more round, see if I can get him, and if I don't,
I don't know. I might take him. You better hurry.
I'll just take. I'm fine if you have Mahomes or Lamar. It's Lamar. You basically have to get Andrews or Marquise Brown. Mahomes, you have to spend intense draft capital at the beginning, and it's really hard. Everyone wants those players, so I'm fine just rolling Mahomes.
Lamar, you don't have to stack with anybody.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to stack in at all. And I actually think on Underdog, it's, now that DraftKings has entered it, stacking on DraftKings makes a million times more sense than it does on Underdog. So, if you don't get your stack, don't worry about it. I try for it. If I can get it, I get it. But my whole strategy doesn't revolve around that.
Oh, I'm just sitting here looking at these wide receivers thinking, what have I done?
There goes Cohen. Cohen's one of my favorite targets for the late round.
There goes Madison.
All right, I got Kamara. I got to make sure.
Rick's checking the bye weeks.
Yeah, I can get a week 6 bye. I'm going to go ahead. Mr. Miles Sanders. Actually, you know what I'm going to do?
What's that?
There we go. DeAndre Washington. Boom. Get my Chiefs stack.
There you go.
I think he is basically in line for whatever Damian Williams was probably going to do. I think DeAndre Washington is basically taken.
Damian Williams was going to get more usage than DeAndre Washington.
Maybe. Well, I don't know. I think they're going to sort of go 1 for 1. I need some pass catch. If I got Mahomes, if I can run that back with Watkins here in a second, I might. I've got one. There's a top. I agree. Beer Makers fan had this guy as a top 24 wide receiver on the last show.
Who's that?
And I see a couple. I see maybe 2 really good best ball targets sitting staring me in the eye here. Wide receiver.
Can't believe you didn't grab Sammy Watkins though. He was available.
I might. He's there. You know who gets no respect now?
Me.
Austin Hooper.
Oh, yeah, him too.
Why is Austin Hooper still sitting here? because he used to be a lot higher, and he was too high to start. But Noah Fant is not going to outdo Austin Hooper.
Well, I just grabbed Noah Fant, so
yeah, Noah Fant is not going to outdo.
I'd rather have Noah Fant than Austin Hooper in this format. Again, Austin Hooper is never going to win you a week. Never.
I disagree.
Austin Hooper?
All right, Deshaun Jackson went. Jerry Jeudy. I'm going to take Anthony Miller. I absolutely love him. Was lights out when healthy last year. He's healthy right now. Beer Makers fan had him as a top 24 wide receiver on the Hot Take Show. He's someone I think he's my highest owned player in best ball. You can get him in these late rounds. And what are they going to do in Chicago? No matter who the quarterback is, Allen Robinson is the alpha, right? Yes. So then the Omega has to be Anthony Miller, who's been great basically his entire career when he's healthy. If his shoulder holds up, I'm expecting a huge year out of him. The end of last year, weeks 14, 15, 16, lights out. I'm expecting that to carry over. So he's basically, there's maybe two other wide receivers I think could have really huge years this late. And to get him is just great to me.
Yeah, I mean, these wide receivers stink. I'm really just going down this list, and I just want to cry. I don't like any of these guys. Seriously, like I could take Mo Sanu. He's one of the heroes of my life. I mean,
that was the $1 million team, wasn't it?
He was.
Yeah. You're not going to win the $200,000 with Mohamed Sanu.
I don't think so. I got the one upside game of Mohamed Sanu's career.
There's a couple. I just saw Preston Williams went. He's another one.
Love him. I thought about taking him over Fant.
Yeah. I had. He was another one I think has a lot of upside this late. Looking down, don't really see any. Maybe one more who I think could be like a top 24 wide receiver.
Who is it? I need him. It's Corey Davis, right?
Yeah, yes. It is not Corey Davis.
Yeah, it gets really ugly in the wide receiver category here. I mean, it gets like really, really gross. I mean, I could go back to taking JJ Arcega-Whiteside. That was fun last year. I think I got one touchdown out of him.
Where's we've done now. What do you got? So you got Lamar, Barkley, Connor Hunt, McLaurin Gallup, Deontay Debo, Curtis Samuel. You got tight end taken care of. See, I probably wouldn't have taken Fan. I probably would have waited till very late to take your second.
Yeah, I'm regretting that because I had Preston Williams next up on my board, and there are a couple other tight ends that I do like. I mean, there's one tight end that's down the board that's staring me in the face that I would love to take, but I just won't be able to use him on my team.
So you'll see me, right? All I have is Mahomes. I'm gonna, even if I don't take the Miami quarterback, when you have Mahomes, I'm expecting Mahomes to score for me 12 of the 13 weeks, right? So I'm not going to invest. If I have Mahomes, if I've got McCaffrey, if I've got Michael Thomas, if I've got Travis Kelce, right? If I got one of those guys, you can invest less in those positions if you have like the true number one throughout the entire draft and spend that equity on other positions.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, there goes Boston Scott. I was certainly eyeing him. My boy Duke is still around.
The Johnson & Johnson stack is available.
All right, I'm gonna take Brashad Perryman, and I think I'm going YOLO Jets.
There you go. That is a really depressing sentence.
It is, but they're gonna throw the ball a lot. That team is gonna give up a lot of points.
Oh my, they're just terrible. I mean, I know who I'm taking if it gets to me.
I like the low equity stack probabilities, right? You don't invest a lot.
Yep.
If it works, I don't think the Jets have a great late season schedule, which probably will kill me. Let's see, Jets schedule. I always like to look at those. The Jets haven't popped for me in any of the research I've done to start the season. But let's see what they got here. So their end of season schedule. Oh yeah, I lost for sure. So we got week 14, they're at Seattle across the country. Week 15, they're at the Rams. That's a no-go. And then week 16, home against the Browns. Maybe I can make that work. Week 15 looks real tough. I would not want to play the Rams defense, I think. Oh, no, that's the Rams. never mind. I think the Rams defense is fine. I had it mixed up with the Chargers. I think going up against the Chargers is like you're going to be. I think even Patrick Mahomes would be lucky to put up like 24 points on him.
Darius Geis is still available?
Yes. I pretty sure his career in the NFL is over.
Yeah. I don't know. People can come back from some crap. But yep, I get what you're saying.
Which one? You mentioned a couple zero running backs. You're up here. You eyeing one? You only got 3 of them.
I know.
5 seconds.
I was debating on which Indy receiver to take.
Paris? I like Paris Campbell.
Yep. I'm going for upside. I'm going for a few home run hitters.
I'm going to try to get no one's taking running back. Everyone's just waiting on quarterbacks right now.
I mean, I have to. I have Lamar. Like, I have no reason to grab a quarterback.
Everyone's just getting there. Hey, you want a stack? Get your stack. Here's the stack.
Yep.
Everyone's being nice.
Yep.
Justin Jackson, he was getting some camp hype today. There goes Sony Michel. He might not even play part of the season. I'm going to go
get 2 Carolina Panthers wide receivers, which is a little bit awkward.
I'm taking AP, at least for the first couple of weeks. I expect him to be plowing some yards right there.
I mean, that's a pick for your team. If AP is scoring in the first couple of weeks for my team, I'm in trouble with Saquon, Connor, and Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I like AP. So I'm done it where I got 5 running backs. I'm good. I got Kamara, Carson, David Johnson. I got DeAndre Washington to pair with Mahomes, right? Pretend Clyde Edwards-Helaire twists an ankle for a couple weeks. I'm looking good there. EP. I got to try to get a stack. I need a couple more tight ends, and I can round out my team here at the end. Well,
are you usually 2 tight ends and 2 quarterbacks?
Usually, although if I didn't have Mahomes, if I hadn't picked a quarterback yet, right, I would have no problem going Big Ben, Sam Darnold, Gardner Minshew, or something like that, right? Although Big Ben, I can't believe Big Ben's sitting around here.
If I didn't have Lamar. I always do feel like I like my team so much less when I get that quarterback early. And I understand that from an equity standpoint, it's perfectly fine. But I always look at my team afterwards and I'm like, I just don't like this.
Well, you're thinking Kirk Cousins and Phillip Rivers, they can get me 29 fantasy points. One of them can, when they're just not going to be able to compete with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson can legit just get – I think he's going to run a little bit less than last year. I think no one is going to expect last year's season. But even if he throws more, guess what? Those yards and passing touchdowns, those count too. I'm okay with that.
Yep, I absolutely
that team is going to be – I mean, their defense is just going to be lights out this year.
I cannot believe they got Ngakoue. That's unbelievable. Like, good on them, but holy cow. How many good players – can we just, like, move the Ravens or the Chiefs to a different conference so we can get that Super Bowl matchup every year?
I mean, you'll see that in the playoffs.
I know. No, I want to see it in the Super Bowl every year. Every year for the next 5 years. I think
the Saints, the 49ers, I think there's a lot of good NFC teams.
Yeah, those are – yeah. That's the minor leagues, man. Like, that's – come on. It's the Chiefs and the Ravens and everybody else.
Don't count out Bill Belichick. There goes Ben Roethlisberger. Justin's team is just – he is really he's lacking a wide receiver, but he's got Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams, so I don't know if that's really lacking.
Yeah, that's not lacking a wide receiver. He has the best wide receiver core in the –
Yeah.
They'll grab a tight end, probably tight end 3 here pretty soon. Running backs are a little suspect, but hey, you're going to have to get lucky somewhere. You can't just get all-stars at every position.
Let's see here.
What do you think about Gurley this year? Are you in on Todd Gurley?
I think so.
He still doesn't have a knee.
I think I'd be in on Gurley.
All
right. I'm going to take definitely a couple guys. I'm going to take Steven Sims. Pretty sure he's the number 2 option in that Washington pass game. You used to be, man, the ADP. I was getting Steven Sims with my last pick 3 weeks ago. The ADP is getting good. People are getting much smarter now.
Oh, I know who I'm going to take. It comes to me. Come on. I can't believe I'm actually going to take this guy.
There goes
this is somebody that I wish I would have waited on him when and taken Preston Williams instead. But Irv Smith is going to have
I love Irv.
Monster.
Did you see the tweets? They might play him outside. I don't know if preseason, without preseason games, one beat writer tweets one thing, everybody goes bananas right now on Twitter because that's all we have. We don't have preseason games. We take everything for gospel. But I think Irv, I don't mind Kyle Rudolph. I think they're going to play a lot of two tight end. Those are some good players. Rudolph's going to catch a lot of touchdowns. So is Irv this year. I think that's a good play.
I'm pretty desperate for wide receivers, so maybe this guy will catch on with the team.
Yeah. EB, listen, you got to do some weird things.
You got to just – I love it.
Three,
That's
four.
what Greg
you got 8? You got 8, you're good.
I might get one more. Like, they're that bad.
I mean, it's tough, right? You need 3. You got bye weeks. It's half PPR. Receivers
are – you got to get lucky with the touchdowns. I'm sitting here looking at potential running backs that I could grab, and I'd say it's a sad story, Britt.
I'm going to avoid having the most tilting thing happen. So I'm gonna reach on Sam Darnold just to make sure I get him, because the most absolute tilting thing in the world is having all your stacks set up, and then for no apparent reason, out of the blue, someone reaches up like another round to take the quarterback on your team.
Whoever does that to Britt, I appreciate it.
So I got my Patrick Mahomes. You know what I should have done? Make sure they don't have the same bye week. Phew! I forgot to check that. So I'm good on that one, weeks 10 and 11. I got a little bit of KC. I got a jet stack. It is what it is.
These running backs are – I could always grab Lamar Miller. Just kidding. I will not be taking Lamar Miller. I would rather have – this is probably crazy. I would rather have LaShawn McCoy than Lamar Miller.
Give me Gus Edwards. He just got traded to Jacksonville.
God, that team is going to get just destroyed every single week. I cannot believe that Ngakoue actually forced his way out.
I mean,
like he had no leverage.
Brian Hill just got drafted. I mean, this is what we've come to at the running back position.
That's ugly.
People, get your running backs early. If you're new, right, you're just maybe one or two of these guys has a good season, but it's such a long shot compared to, right, like a D.D. Westbrook, a Larry Fitzgerald. Quarterbacks are still on the board here. You just get no good running backs this late in the draft. Sanu, is that you?
It's not. Yeah. It is not me. Ew.
What's a team, if you could like hand pick a stack other than like Kansas City, right?
It's kites. What are you talking about?
What's one that you think's attainable that if you could like hand pick, you'd jam it under your team?
I mean, Breeze and Michael Thomas. If you can get Michael Thomas a little bit later, that's the first one that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
You could always get. I'm not going to say that one because I might do it.
I wish I knew the Bears starting quarterback right now. If I knew the Bears starting quarterback, I think that team
is going to be trash. Just absolute trash.
I love Allen Robinson and I love Anthony Miller. I just don't know which quarterback's going to be.
Oh man, I did not. Somebody took Teddy Bridgewater. That was my plan.
That's what people. I like Bridgewater's going to be throwing the ball a ton.
He'll throw 50. I mean, they'll throw 50 times a game. He'll still average 3 yards per attempt, but he'll still throw 50 times a game. Oh, there goes Drew Lock. Oh, this is bad. Well,
there's nothing left, so all the quarterbacks are going to fly off.
I know. I'm looking at it right now. All right, how long before my next pick? Oh, boy. I can't even worry about I've got Lamar. I don't have to worry about stacking. I just want a starter.
I have just Gesicki at tight end, so I'm going to have to make some waves here.
Sorry, I took Big Herb from you.
That's fine. There's plenty of others out here. I've got my last pick tight end to choice.
There you go.
I'll probably pick one round early just to make sure I get them.
Oh, there are only 2 quarterbacks that I could conceivably use.
Here goes Olsen. I'm gonna take a couple more wide receivers that I. All right, let's take some Brian Edwards.
Britt's scrolling.
Brian Edwards hype.
Okay. I have no opinion on Brian Edwards. None.
mean, if he scores 1 week for me, call it a win. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers out week 11.
That's not ideal.
Not good, Bob.
Yeah, you know how depressing it is to have to choose between Derek Carr and Phillip Rivers?
I mean, that's a pretty easy decision for me.
Yeah?
I would take Phillip Rivers 100 out of 100 because barring injury, there's no chance Phillip Rivers isn't a quarterback all year, where
that's a fair point.
Barring injury, there's a reasonable chance that Derek Carr is not the quarterback.
Marcus Mariota is not taking Derek Carr's job. I know that's a thing people have talked about. It's not happening.
Are you just going 3 running back? Are you going to try?
I'm going to take one more.
You got a dark horse?
Maybe. I'm not sure. Honestly, there are a few guys that I'm thinking about.
I see some random.
So do I.
There's random players down here.
They'll be available in the last round. So
Giovanni Bernard. No. Jamal Williams. Devontae wants too much money to sign Freeman.
I mean, he's going to latch on to somebody, right?
Yes. I mean, teams
not going to miss the season.
Someone's going to get hurt. He's going to sign somewhere. It's just, is he going to play? He wants too much money. All right, I got to take some tight ends. I'm going to reach first to make sure to get the guy I want, which is CJ Uzoma.
All right.
I think he's going to catch like 50 to 60 passes this year.
You know, he is injured like 90% of the time, right?
He's going to be playing like every snap for the Bengals.
He's hurt all the time.
No, that was the guy.
That's Eifert. The same way. I know that was Eifert too, but
I might take Eifert.
You know, the Bengals tight ends. Wait, where's Eifert now?
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Oh, God.
What's it? And they just lost a tight end too.
Oh boy, not gonna lie, Brett. These running backs are not pretty.
Who are you eyeing? Where are you? You got 1 pick left?
Yeah. I know who I'm eyeing, and it's gonna be. Yeah, it's especially weird. See, I don't even.
You know what? I got a really good one.
I've got one. The problem is I've got the starter.
I hope you picked the right one. Do you want me? I'm going to throw it out to you right when it's your pick, and you can make a decision.
All right.
Because I got one for sure.
Okay.
Who is definitely going to get points in plenty of games this year.
See, I'm looking if I didn't have James Conner, it would be Benny Snell.
Mm-hmm.
I love Benny Snell this year.
No, I got one that's going to get starting at week 1. He's going to get like 10 touches.
All right. LaShawn McCoy, SZN.
I will give it to you right before your pick because I can guarantee you if I say the name, someone will take it.
All right, good looking out.
I'm going to need in my final pick. All right, 2 quarterbacks with Mahomes. I'm good there. I got my 5 running backs. I definitely am going to have to go to tight end. So this is what I was saying, right? Early in the draft when we started. There's going to be tight ends available in the last round. O.J. Howard, Dawson Knox, Kyle Rudolph, Tyler Eifert, David Njoku. Give me an Arizona tight end. Give me a Houston tight end. There is plenty to like a tight end.
Yeah, everybody hates O.J. Howard, though. I'm like –
someone just took him.
I know. I have PTSD from him. I can't do it.
There goes Eifert. He was definitely on my radar at tight end. Oh, there he goes. Rex Burkhead was the guy.
He was like on top of my queue, so yeah.
Yeah, Burkhead was definitely my play for you. Someone smartened up. I think Burkhead from week 1. I think Sony Michel's like dunzo.
I think he's done. Like I think Sony Michel's like, and I do like Damian Harris as well. But
yeah, you used to be able to get him for free. Now you have to get him in like the 10th round.
Yeah.
But if he's the workhorse running back, if he's Sony Michel, that 10th round price tag is just fine. All right, so what are the buys of my tight end? I got an 11 and a 9. I like Knox, but I'm going to pass on him for Kyle Rudolph. I want all 3 of my tight ends having different bye weeks.
Yeah, got to do it. Kyle Rudolph. Oh, woo.
He'll catch like 6 touchdowns this year. That's fine.
I mean, Here, I'll take the under on 6 touchdowns right now.
He probably had. What did he have last year? I don't even know if I can pull that.
Last year he was the starter.
6 touchdowns last year.
Okay, fine. I'll take the under. Here, I'll give you. I'll take under 5.5 for you.
The yards, 367, not bad, but the touchdown, I'm just touchdown hunting. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining the draft and playing along with us. Again, this is Underdog Fantasy. If you just tuned in, you can download it on your app store, or you can go to UnderdogFantasy.com. We are in the Best Ball Mania Championship. It's going to award $1 million. The first place is $25 entry, $25 per shot. Seems a little expensive for you. Don't worry, right? Let's go to the tournaments. They've got the bubble, right? $5 to enter.
Love that name.
$100,000 prize, $20,000 to first. That doesn't suck for a $5 entry. So they got you covered in the medium buy-in. They got you on the small buy-in, right? If you want to take 5 shots instead of 1 shot, you can do that. They got the cash games, which are much softer than the tournaments, in my opinion, where you can just play, a top 3 cash type of thing. I've been playing a bunch of those around the industry. Those are my favorite type of games, almost like free money, in my opinion. A lot of people don't understand how to make teams. Give them a look. They're from the makers of the Draft app. If you like Draft last year, that's gone. I don't know what happened to it, but they've created Underdog Fantasy, and it's here to stay. They got good investments from a lot of people in the industry, and I expect them to succeed in whatever they desire because they have a really good team behind them. Crane, what do you think of your team overall there? What do you think?
I really hope Devontae Freeman gets signed because that's where we've been.
That's who you took in your last pick?
That's who I took in the last round, yeah.
Right, I don't hate it.
You're swinging for upside, and if I spent so much capital on running backs early on, if they don't get there, I was never going to win.
I'm going to give my team a 7 out of 10. Don't love it, right? Sorry, Devin. I know I always love my teams. Competition's tough, right? I can't love all my teams. I'm going to give it a 7. And Justin, if you're watching, I think your team looks pretty good. I'm going to give you the team of the draft in my opinion.
I'm going to give mine a 10 out of 10.
All right. Thanks to everybody for watching. Crane, it was good working to you. Back to our little secret chat.
Yep.
Thanks to everyone for watching, and we out ya.